Hey guys, I'm Eric Peterson and I'm a men's dating and relationship coach for skillofattraction.com. And today's attraction tips video is called 15 Ways to Be a Challenge to Women. Now, if you've been following my videos for a while, I'm sure you know by now that there are a lot of beta male behaviors women find to be completely unattractive, ultimately turning them off. Neediness, controlling, insecurity, possessiveness, nice guy behavior, and so on. However, there are equally a lot of masculine behaviors that women find to be very attractive, ultimately turning them on. Things like ambition, confidence, mystery, and challenge. Now, when I was younger and some of my female friends would give me advice about a particular girl, and this was one of the few times they were actually giving me good advice, they would tell me that I need to be more of a challenge with women. And at the time, I didn't have a clear understanding what they meant. I interpreted that as being argumentative and confrontational. Of course, this took the situation or relationship from bad to worse. I was no longer that overly sweet, nice guy, but now I was just an asshole. And not the type of asshole women find attractive. Like I said, I was argumentative and confrontational. But over the years, from much trial and error, I finally began to understand what was meant when my female friends would tell me that I needed to be more of a challenge. So in this attraction tips video, I put together a list of some behavior that will make you more of a challenge, but in a much more attractive way. As I mentioned, this comes from years of making mistakes, figuring out what works, what does not work. And of course, there are other ways to be a challenge, but hopefully this will get you on the right path in helping you to understand what makes you a challenge to women, but in such a way where it will raise her attraction for you. But if you guys need my personal help and you're interested in some private coaching, please head over to my website at skillofattraction.com. Click on the coaching tab, and there you will see that I have several options for you to choose from. I offer standard email coaching, and I also offer emergency email coaching that includes a response from me on weekends and holidays. I also offer both biweekly and monthly email coaching where I will work with you throughout that time period. Additionally, I offer phone coaching for my U.S. clients. Now, if you live outside the U.S., I will have a phone or Skype coaching option for you guys sometime in the future. I know a lot of you have been after me about that. I'm just not in that position yet, but I can still help you through email coaching. So I recommend that you use the email coaching option if you really need my help. And I will post the links to both my contact page and my coaching page in the description down below. So there are 15 ways to be challenging with women in such a way where she will find it attractive. Number one, you want to keep your options open. Now, I've talked about this before, and what I mean is to keep dating different women and playing the field or spinning plates until you find that girl that just pushes all your buttons. And the reason for this, besides building your confidence, is you won't get so attached to one woman. Because when you're attached, you begin to fear that you will lose her when things start to go a little south. And the more that you fear that you will lose her, the more you will begin behaving in weak, needy ways. Plus, when you have options with other women, it will naturally make you more attractive because all women want a man who is wanted by other women. Next up, don't be so agreeable. Now, I used to do this sort of thing all the time when I was younger. It was partly as a way to force a connection, but also partly as a way to avoid any conflict or tension. However, if you're just agreeing with her as a way to have a deeper connection, it's inauthentic and she will eventually figure it out. And if you're just agreeing with her to avoid conflict and tension, hoping that the girl will like you more because of that, well, that's just going to backfire because she will eventually begin to lose all respect for you and just see you as a doormat. So if you don't like something that she says or something that she does, don't be afraid to disagree with her or call her out. She will respect you more for it. Next, don't compliment unless it's earned. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't compliment a woman unless she does something for you first. What I mean here is to not compliment unless it's deserved. Many men will just freely throw out compliments left and right, thinking it's making the girl like them more. But it really doesn't work that way. Plus, if you overdo complimenting a woman, the compliments will lose all meaning. I mean, think about how often you receive compliments from women. It's not very often, right? Women compliment men very sparingly. So when you do get a compliment from a woman, it really means something to you. Women get compliments from men all the time, especially if they're very attractive. They hear how beautiful they are several times a day, or maybe even more, from these men that think by just complimenting her, it's going to completely make her swoon simply because he thinks she's beautiful. So don't compliment women unless it's earned. As an example, if she dressed hot for you, tell her how hot she looks. If she's genuinely funny, feel free to tell her that. If it took her a lot of courage to overcome something difficult in her life, tell her how impressed you are. Things of that nature. Next up, you want to set high standards for yourself. Men are often so wrapped up in praising women and trying to prove themselves that they're not even thinking about what the woman whom they're interested in is bringing to the relationship. I mean, a pretty face, a beautiful body, and hot sex are all great, but that's not going to be enough. Not in the long term, anyway. You want to ask her deeper, more intimate questions that are important to you. This way, you're showing her your standards and what you expect in a relationship simply through conversations, ultimately encouraging her to step up to the plate. Next, don't buy her affection. I've actually done a video about this topic. Many men shower their girl with gifts thinking that she will like him more because of it. Women like you because they like you, not because you give them gifts or take them out on expensive dinner dates. I mean, obviously something like that, very occasional and from the heart, is completely fine, but if you overdo it, not only will she begin to take it for granted, but she knows that it's more or less a bribe for her love and sex. Next up in 15 ways to be challenging to women is let her invest in the conversation. Many men feel the need to carry the conversation with women. They just talk and brag about their accomplishments and try to fill in the void in the conversation whenever it hits a low point. And they're mainly doing this to sell themselves. And I mean, everyone loves to talk about themselves, right? While it is your job to lead the conversation, you want to let her invest as well. So how do you do that? Just don't talk so much. Ask her questions and listen to her answers. Encourage her to elaborate on her answers. If you hit a moment of silence with her or a low point, let her fill in the void despite that moment being a bit uncomfortable. This will help you come across as more mysterious. Plus, the person who speaks the least is seen as being more confident. Next, you want to slow down with the romance. I mean, it's really easy to get completely wrapped up in the romance of a new relationship, and you start thinking about how perfect this girl is, how you're going to spend the rest of your life with her, what your children will look like, how you're going to propose even. I mean, then you begin talking about future dates and asking her if she's seen anyone else. I mean, I get it. I've been there myself. However, by doing all this, you're coming across way too easy and killing the mystery and challenge about you. Instead, you just want to take it one date at a time, with your focus being strictly on having fun with her. Be objective about her as well, and just see where things are going to go before you let yourself fall in love with her. You don't want to make her beauty the only thing that matters. If she's feeling it just as strong as you are, let her bring up a commitment. Remember, men are the gatekeepers of relationships and commitment the same way as women are the gatekeepers of sex. She pursues the commitment, and you, as the man, has the final say. Next, you want to have female friends. Here's another way to give women the sense that you have options and to raise your social value. When women who you have a romantic interest in see that you have female friends, especially attractive female friends, they will naturally assume that these women value your presence and feel safe and comfortable around you. You automatically pass some of her screening tests this way. Not only that, but it helps raise her curiosity about you, naturally making you a bit more mysterious, where she's thinking, what is it about this guy where attractive women want to be around him all the time? It works quite well. Next up, don't chase unless she's chasing you too. Now, as I said it before, it is your job to chase a bit in the beginning and initiate the courtship. However, if she's being difficult, not making dates or canceling them all the time, not responding to your texts or phone calls, stop chasing her. This only makes you come across as weak and desperate, which is not attractive at all. And the same goes for when you've been in a long-term relationship with her. If she's being difficult or not carrying her weight in the relationship, stop chasing her. Let her come to you. Next on my list is don't be so available. I believe I've done a couple videos about this topic. When you're too available, it sends her the message that you have nothing going on in your life besides her and that you have her up on a pedestal. This means that when you're dropping everything to respond to her texts or phone calls, canceling plans with friends to spend time with her, or always available for last-minute invites from her, you're too available, and it will lower her attraction significantly. Studies have actually shown that men who are too responsive are actually quite unattractive to women. Next on the list, stop proving yourself. You don't want to go out of your way, bend over backwards, jumping through hoops of fire in order to prove your worth or value to any woman. Just by simply spending time together and having meaningful conversations, she will learn how high or low your value really is. And if she tries to put you in a position where she wants you to prove yourself, just simply laugh it off and tell her to get in touch with you when she wants to get together. Alphas don't need to prove themselves to anyone. They show their value through action. Next, you don't want to be so affectionate. Of course, there's nothing wrong with being affectionate with women. I mean, when you really like a woman and have a high attraction for her, of course, you're going to want to touch her and kiss her and hold her and tell her how amazing you think she really is. However, when you're doing it too much, she begins to feel smothered. And when a woman feels smothered by a man, she can't wait to get away from him. Like everything with women, there's a balance. If she's not reciprocating affection at least as much as you're giving it out, this is a sign that you need to dial it back a bit. Next up, never give full disclosure. Part of getting to know a woman and even part of maintaining a long-term relationship is sharing stories, talking about how you feel, sharing your hopes and dreams. However, especially on the first few dates, men tend to tell women everything about themselves. And I used to do the same sort of thing because I wanted whichever girl I was with to know who I am. But what that's really doing is ruining the mystery about you. There's nothing left for her to discover about you, and women love to slowly uncover who you are. It's exciting and it's mysterious. I mean, think of it this way. You're not going to go and tell people the ending of some great movie and ruin it for them. No, you're going to let them discover it for themselves. It's the same thing for dating. Let her slowly uncover you for herself by asking questions and spending time with you. I mean, it's really one of the reasons why she keeps coming back for more, because once a woman feels that she has you figured out, it's really the beginning of the end. Next up, don't be so compliant with her. Now, this is another topic I've done a video for. Men understandably want to make the girl happy, and they want to do the things for her in order to accomplish that. However, when you're constantly and consistently rolling over doing whatever she wants and whenever she wants and whatever she demands, she will eventually begin to treat you like a doormat because, well, you allow it. And this isn't about never doing anything that she asks of you, only taking a stand and saying no to the things that you don't want to do or things that she's perfectly capable of doing herself. Honey, will you hold my purse? Pfft, I don't think so, sweetheart. You got that covered. And finally, don't be so accommodating. Similar to being overly compliant, many men are way too accommodating. They'll say things like, "Are you too cold? Let me get you a blanket. Are you hungry? Are you thirsty? Can I rub your feet? It looks like you could use a back rub. Let me give you a back rub." I mean, you see how pathetic that really sounds? I mean, it's okay to be a little accommodating, but overdoing it only makes you come across like you're some servant or slave to her. Women have no respect for men that overdo it with this stuff. If she's uncomfortable, she will mention it. Though you do have to keep in mind, because she probably won't mention it directly. So, as with all things that has to do with female communication, you kind of have to read between the lines with that. So, those are 15 ways that you could be a challenge to women where it raises your value and she will also find it quite attractive. And as you can see, none of them are very difficult. However, it may take some practice as you're most likely reconditioning yourself and your typical behavior. So, if you have found this video helpful or any of my videos helpful, I would really appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up and for you to share it with any of your friends and family. And I would also really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button down below and tick that little bell symbol next to it so you get real-time notifications of when I upload new videos. And in the description down below, not only will I have a link to both my contact page and my coaching page, but I also have a link to PayPal if you deem this video worthy of a donation. So that's it for this video. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Have a good one. Bye-bye.